we are in the neighborhood. Mr. Hollow Point's neighborhood. Who wants to be in the neighborhood? Hollow Point neighborhood, that is. So, today, we were doing the open box. We got the last of the 4 calibers of the Challenger Elite series from Terry Fox at Foxairpower. We have the 50 cal. Okay, so you got 357, 457, 50 cal, and the 51. This is the 50. So we're going to get this set up. We'll go through everything with it like we always do and figure out where the sweet spot for setting up the regulator is. You know, because the goal with these regulated setup rifles is to get your multiple shots very close together. Okay, not a huge spread, not like 900, 800, 700 feet a second on an unregulated rifle, but more like 850, 835, 827, you know, much closer spread. Or in the lighter ones, you know, even closer. That's the goal, you know, to get 4 to 6 shots that are almost identical. So this is the 50 cal Challenger Elite air rifle. Like always, you've got your pick rail on top. It's a bullpup design. Comes with 2 magazines. You have your fill probe that goes in this hole right here, and then it's got threads, so you screw it in by hand so that way it can't fall out and you're not going to lose it in the dirt. Your cheek, it's a plastic cheek rest so you're not freezing in the cold weather. It's got your muzzle brake on top, which will be taken off to put on a suppressor. And we have a barrel band from Black Arts Design. I believe Terry carries everything here, the one-stop shop. And then he sent me along the Donkey Schlong Emperor, which we'll put on this to keep things quiet in the basement so the cat doesn't have a stroke upstairs and, you know, whiz all over the rest of my furniture and paint the walls like he's doing now. Anybody want a free cat? So that is what we're going to do. We're going to get this set up. I'm going to throw a scope on it and we'll run it through its numbers, as always, trying to figure out where things work. And for you fellas that haven't seen the previous Elite Challenger videos, you've got 2 gauges here. You've got a gauge here in your adjustment screw. You have a gauge here. And this little segment here between my fingers is where the regulator sits. So your probe goes here. It fills this tube with 4,500 psi. And then based on how you've set your screw here, it shows in this gauge. This gauge is for your source tank of air. This gauge is your working pressure on how much is going through in here and what the rifle is actually operating on. So we will set this up and start charting our numbers. So we'll go through 400 or 500 bullets as we do this. You're not going to see that in the video because that would be the longest, most boring video in the world. But it'd be like watching C-SPAN on TV. But I'll do all the homework and the leg work and the bullet work. So then once the video's done, you say, okay, Robert says, you know, we need to set this regulator at such and such. It might be, you know, 1,800, you know, PSI, 2,000 PSI, 21, whatever we set it at. And I'll have the number charts in the video. So that's kind of how that works. For you guys that already know that, ignore what I just said. So we will get this set up, guys, and we will do some of that fantastic, boring shooting, which is all you can really do when you're in the basement. So go get yourself a cup of coffee while I set this up, and I'll be back in a few minutes. I like big butts and I cannot lie. Other mother you deny. When she walks in with an itty bitty waist and a big round in your face. Oh, hello, gentlemen. So we're going to take the muzzle brake off so I can put the Donnie FL Donkey Schlong suppressor on. And I have my muzzle brake tool. Now, you really should heat this up with a hairdryer first. Warm up the Loctite. It'll make things a lot easier. I throw the old monkey wrench on there, but then I do scuff up my muzzle brake a little bit. So once you get that loose, take it off. You've also got a spacer thread protector washer thing here, so I'm taking that off also. Okay. Yeah. And then well, I should throw this in a little bag so I don't lose anything. Here's a little bag. And then what I'll do is I write on the bag, just for my own 50 Elite. So when I go back and look for it, I know what's going on. Taking notes never hurts anybody. Oh, got the donkey schlong, and this is that new design, or newer design, where you've got one size schlong, one schlong fits all. That's what she said. And you've got your different adapters. So I can have a 357 adapter and still use the schlong on the 357 Elite, because this is, you know, the rest of this is basic. So this schlong does 457 through 50. So we're good. And it's the 18, I think 18 by 1 threads. There we go. And sometimes, you know, your point of aim will change on these rifles. So if you're going to hunt with a schlong, sight it in with the schlong. If you're not going to, then take it off. You know, and just shoot normal, because your point of aim will change. You'll have to resight your rifle in. And always make sure you got a big enough sheet of cardboard that if you're 9 inches off and 18 inches this way and that way, you can see where the bullet's hitting on your cardboard, and you're not having to waste bullets and, you know, and air and everything. As much as I love selling you stuff, I don't like things being wasted. So, you know, because you're not having fun at that point. So now we're going to put on the, we got to put the barrel band on from David at Black Arts Design. And we'll, I'll zoom in and we'll do the video with that. Okay, so here is our barrel band from Black Arts Design. And for the Elite series, it's a two-piecer, because you've got this bell, I call it, here at the end of the muzzle. So it can't just slide on like it would with the Zeus or the other Challengers. So it's a two-piecer. You see the silver arrows always point towards the muzzle. And as I've shown before, I'm trying to do this here. Okay, so in the top of your barrel band, you've got two rings, gold and silver. Both face out. The gold is in the back, the silver is in the front, and they're angled. And you'll see that when you go and put your pieces on. This is angled here to match. Okay, you've got two screws at the bottom, one screw at the top, and again facing with the arrows pointing out. I just dropped a screw, so we'll have to go look for it. There we go. Put that baby on. I get the top tightened up first. Now, your screws fall out. You can tell which is which. The top one is way longer than the two bottom screws. Okay, so get that in snug, then we'll come around and do the back side. Because you know me, everything falls apart as I'm working on it. Okay, just tighten this up. Now I haven't played with the barrel, moved it left, right. I just left it as it is. Get that nice and tight. There, that baby ain't going nowhere. So that is a barrel band assembly with me being a putz. Okay, so now the fill probe's going to go in, and I always say lube your O-rings, because the rubber is where everything always fails. You know, you've got air going in, high pressure, temperatures change. You get spare O-rings, but that's always the you know, the weak point. So you shove it in, and then you start to screw. I gotta get a rag because I got lube all over my finger. Ta-da! Now the O-ring's in nice and tight. So we're looking good, gentlemen. Now we just need a scope. Let me show you guys something, okay? You guys, when you have scopes that run out of your elevation adjustment, you know, you can't move the scope, you've bottomed out your crosshairs. Well, I found this on Amazon. I didn't realize it was adjustable, but this is fantastic. You know, so if you need to lower your crosshairs and you can't, you know, you've run out of adjustment, look how far that lifts up. You know, I don't know if you can see that, but that little 1/4 inch, that's like 9 to 12 inches, you know, at 50 or 100 yards. It's fantastic. You can really, you know, center your crosshairs and keep them from bottoming out, you know, up and down. And then also, if you can't get, you know, your scope's too short, this thing, it totally comes up and adjusts. I try to get it here. I mean, look how far this thing will. I'm trying to slide it in these little slots. Forgive me, but okay, that's as far as that goes, but look at that. So not only if you've got a short scope, you can pull it further back. Look at that, up and down. The adjustment is fantastic, you know. So you've got those high dollar Svarskis or Zeiss, and you know, you only got like 8 or 10 clicks in any direction. It can't help you with your left-right windage, but your elevation up and down, yeah, this $35 is the best $35 I ever spent, because any scope that I have now, I can put on an air rifle and I'm not running out of adjustment. Not saying it's needed, but if you do have a scope that you're bottoming out, perfect, perfect. They go by different names. This one happens to be Conus, sorry, my mistake. I got a couple more, same, identical, but different names. But I bought like 6 of these just because they're so good, you know. And then because of, you know, the grip is just too screw. I can slap it on it, take it off, and put it on any scope. Bingo, you know, you're ready to rock and roll. That's just one of the things that I discovered. All right, guys. So we are starting this off 4,500 psi fill. Our gauge is set at 3,000. That's where it came in from Terry. So I'm going to leave it there just to get some base numbers, okay? So I got my homemade single shot tray just because I don't feel like stuffing the magazine, but we'll do the magazine later. Okay. We've got the Donnie FL and the barrel band to keep this thing tamed down. All right, that's numbers are looking really nice. Rinse and repeat. Now, because the way the fill gauge is with this, it does, trying to figure out how much I'm using per shot is not quite the same as it is like with a Texan or, you know, a different check valve fill nipple. But it's still giving me a good point of reference. Okay, so we did 8 shots. Normally I only do 6, but we did 8, starting at 9:15, ending at 8:51. So really, if you think about it, 1, 2, 7 shots in the high 800s if you include the 9:15. So that's nothing to sneeze at with the 235. So let's keep doing. We'll shoot a bunch more, and we'll start jotting down results. Okay, so now the 280s. So far, this thing is screaming. I'm probably going to wind up upping my power level on the other elites just to get a bit more out of it. You always have the ability to tune it down for a higher shot count, or more air for more power but a smaller shot count. All right, gentlemen, so now the 300 grain, which is the heaviest hollow point that will fit in the 50 cal magazine. And when I say 50, I mean the 495, not the 51, which is a 510. Because a lot of people get that confused. All right, so these will be the slowest because they're the heaviest. There we go. I like to be dead center on the chronograph, and what's happening is these slugs are hitting the bullet stop or catcher with such force that it's actually moving. Now I got to move everything this way a fraction. So, now we're good to go. So far, all these bullets are tack drivers. And I'm paying attention to the magazine as I cock, because sometimes they're a little loose, and as it indexes, has a tendency to jump. That one's still, this one's staying in position just fine. Now, we're doing 8 shots, and since this is a 6-shot magazine, we'll just do the last 2 via hand. Not bad. 834 to start, ending with 780. So we're dropping 8-9 feet a second on average on this one, on the 300, ending at 2,500 psi. Well, all of them are ending at 2,500 from 4,500 fill. I tell you, rub it for good luck, and I am happy with these numbers. So this is what we're going to be testing in the Elite Challenger today. It's 495 diameter for the 50 cal, the 235, the 258, the 280, and the 300. Since these guns seem to be best with mid weights, I'm going to say the 258 will probably be the key, and we'll see what happens. But as always, I like to test everything for power, and then we go outside and test for accuracy. Okay, so we ran 4 different bullet weights. Using the 50 cal Challenger Elite, sent to me courtesy of Terry Fox at Foxairpower. We've set this as a little higher. The gauge, the bar, the working pressure bar is right around 2,800 to 3,000, which is a little more than I had on the previous models. I'm going to play with those and up them a bit more. I don't know why, but this is just zinging them down there. And it's pretty interesting because all 4 weights, 235 was 437 foot-pounds on shot 1, 377 on shot 8. The 258, of course, it's going up a little bit in foot-pounds, 451 down to 360. The 280, 453 down to 398, and the 300 was 463. So from light to heavy, you got 437, 451, 453, 463. So all 4 slugs are almost in the same neighborhood for foot-pounds of energy. The speed's dropping a little bit. The lighter bullets are in the high 800s. The 258s, I'd say the mid 800s. The 280s are in the low 800s. And the 300 grain also the low 800s. The reason I did both the 300 and the 280, because they're so close, is 2 different bullet designs. One's wide mouth boat tail, the other's the wide mouth, flat bottom base. So I'm curious to see how they're going to perform at 75 and 100 yards. Because just because it always happens, just because you can stick it in and shoot it, doesn't mean it's going to be accurate at the longer distance. And barrels are finicky. Every manufacturer is different. I can take 1 bullet and it'll be great in 3 out of 5 different brand barrels. That's why I try to test stuff all the time. So far, this has got a lot of power. The spread's really nice. Like I said, 4,500 PSI fill. Your working pressure is between 2,800 and 3,000. Always lube your probe before you put it in. I did show you what type of scope rail I'm playing with and using. In case you do run out of adjustment on your scope. A barrel band, Black Arch design. Also, Terry carries these, I believe. The Donkey Schlong Emperor covers 457 up to 51, I believe. What I like about this one is if I unscrew it, because of Donnie's new design, the 18x1 base or adapter stays on, it can stay on the rifle, and now I can put this on the 357 because it has the same setup but with a different thread. But the mating pieces are all the same. That's that newer design versus several years ago when you unscrewed it, the whole body came out. He doesn't do those anymore. So that is it. Again, the scope I'm using is just a 25-year-old old Simmons 6x24 by 50. I don't know, I got this at Cabela's probably for $89.99, you know, 25, 30 years ago. But what I like, again, is with this rail, you know, base, you can adjust it and get it where you want it to be. I'm going to go back through my closet and pull out some high-end scopes and start switching some things around, since with this base I can now don't have to worry about bottoming out, you know, on my elevation, and get a nice crisper view. It also helps too if I clean my scopes, they don't look so filthy in the inside. So that is it. So far with this open box and setting it up and testing it and getting it on. Since this is the 4th Elite that I've tested, you know, I'm going pretty quick now on the setup because I know what I'm doing. So that's it. Any questions about the rifle, any of the parts, what I'm doing, contact Terry Fox at Foxairpower. Anything about bullets, you can also contact Terry because he does carry those. But you can also contact me directly, Mr. Hollowpoint. And that's about it, guys. I think, you know, between the two of us, we can answer almost any question you've got. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. The next video, hopefully we'll be out at 7,500 yards, you know, lobbing lead downhill or downstream or down yardage, whatever it is. Anyways, thanks for watching. You got the basics, you know how to set it up, you know what you're doing, and that's the most important thing. If you can know how your rifle works, then if you have a problem, it's easier to diagnose. All right, I'm out of here because I think the wife has got brunch cooking for me. See you later, gentlemen.